How I overcame approach anxiety, how you can too as well. Now, I've done about 800 to 1,000 cold approaches, which actually isn't that much in my whole life. I know guys that have done way, way, way more, and I know that I've done 800 to 1,000 because I tracked every single one up until 400, and then I stopped. Um, but yeah, how I did it the first time. If you're a person who's like, fuck, I want to get to this cold approach shit. I keep on seeing all this content, but man, I try to go out and I just can't. It's just like fucking feels like a force. It's just keeping you inside, keeping you safe. This is how I did it. Now, I'm going to talk about two little methods here. The first one's a hardcore method. The second one's a softcore method. Start off with the hardcore method, and when I say hardcore, it's actually not that hardcore, but we'll get into it. Pretty much what I did. This was about a year and a half ago. I woke up in the morning, and before I woke up, the day before, I was like, today is the day I do my first cold approach. I just know it. And basically, my objective for that whole day that I set out was, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do one fucking cold approach, and that's it. And I literally left my house. I walked to the city centre because I was living in a city, my university city at the time. Now, if you live in a like small town or whatever, you need to find the nearest city to you. You need to get the bus there. You need to get the train there. You need to get there. You need to go to that city centre, and you need to just do one fucking cold approach. Doesn't matter what the fuck you do. Doesn't matter how the interaction goes. Doesn't matter what the strategy is. It helps to have a little bit of a strategy in mind of like what you're going to say, like, hi, I saw you, da 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 da, and just ultimately, it doesn't fucking matter what goes on in that interaction. Doesn't fucking matter. Now, in my other video I posted, I talked about how time is going to swallow everything. So it doesn't matter how that interaction goes. Doesn't matter how your whole life fucking goes. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks about you. The time is going to swallow everything. In 5 billion years, no one's going to give an absolute shit about you. There probably won't even be any human beings around anyway. So it doesn't even bloody matter. That's the first point. So when you go out, you go to the city centre. This is what I did. I went to the city centre, and I just knew I was going to do a cold approach. And I was so anxious. I was stewing in anxiety. I walked around the city centre for an hour and a half. I literally did like laps of the shopping centre, just like fucking in my head. I had my headphones in, and I was listening to this podcast by James Tusk. He's another like one of these like day game guys. I don't believe in the day game that much anymore, but that whole like scene, like I don't really like it. But anyway, I was walking around for an hour and a half, listening to this guy talking about confidence and like doing your first approach and that. And ultimately, it got to a point where I was walking around for an hour and a half, and I promised myself, this is the key. I promised myself I would not come back until I do my first approach. I went out about, let's say I was out about 1ish. I was like, I don't give a fuck till it takes. Doesn't matter how long it takes me. I'm not coming home until I do my first approach. I'm literally not coming home till I do my first approach. That's what I was thinking. Anyway, and I literally was walking around for an hour and a half. I see this ginger girl across the road, and I had so many opportunities to approach by this point. I'd see a girl, and I'd just be like, and I just would not. And I'd just do it again. I'd do it again. I'd do it again. It gets harder and harder and harder. But again, I was not fucking going home till I do this first approach. Anyway, it gets to about an hour and a half, hour and 45. I'm like, fuck. It gets to a point where I'm just like, I need to do it now. I've been pissing around for so fucking long. I see this ginger girl across the road, and I'm just like, fuck. I literally like run across the road. It was so weird because like, I walked past so many girls who were on the same side of the road as me. But it got to a point now where I was like, I need to fucking do it now. Like, I need to do it. And there's this ginger girl across the road. I literally ran across the fucking road. I stopped her, and I can't even remember what I said. I was like, "Hi, excuse me, I thought you looked pretty," like blah blah blah, like just stumbling, like muttering, stuttering, and all of that. And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Yeah." And the interaction just went god awfully. It was super cringe, super awkward. And guess what? Afterwards, I felt fucking amazing. I felt like a weight had literally been lifted off my shoulders. I sat down and I was just like, yes, that was amazing. It went awfully. It was the most cringe interaction you've ever fucking seen. And it felt amazing. And you guys, you just need to get out there and you need to fucking do it, right? This is the hardcore approach. You go out there, you tell yourself, I'm not going to fucking leave until I do this. Time's going to swallow everything. My actions are inconsequential. Doesn't matter what I feel or the fear, I'm going to do it. I spent an hour and a half fucking around until I did it. Get out there, do it straight away. So I did it, and then guess what? Second interaction. That was the first interaction, so I could go home by this point, but I was like, fuck it. I walked even further, and I saw this other girl, like Indian girl, and she was fit, and I was like, fuck, she's fit. And I was like, fuck it. I went up to her and I was like, excuse me, I got in a conversation with her and I got her number. And I was like, we should go for a drink sometime. She was like, yeah. And I was like, fuck. At this time, I was 21 years old. And so the way this is the second interaction, right? Ginger girl went awfully. Second interaction with this Indian chick, I go up to her and I'm like, oh, my name's da 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 da. Where are you from? Da da da. I'm like, my name's Jay. What's your name? And I'm like, so what year are you in? You in first year or second year of uni? And she's like, oh, I'm in my second year of college. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh god. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, so how old are you? And she's like, oh, I'm 18. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, I'm 21. She's 18. What the fuck? Second year of college. I'm like, yeah, there's a little bit of a maturity difference, but at the same time, I'm like, she's 18 and she's fit too. So I'm like, fuck it. So and I'm 18, 21. Like, what the fuck? That's no difference. So yeah, I get her number, set up the date. Turns out she's 17. She lied to me. So just think about that. And I know that because she said it on the text. She's like, oh, I can't drink in the pub. And I'm like, right, so you fucking lied to me then. Didn't get her out on a date because she said it was 17. I was like, nah, it's a bit weird for me. But, you know, for the record, I don't actually think it's that weird. But at the time, I was weirded out. Anyway, yeah, and my point is, on this second interaction, I was crushing it. First interaction, I was fucking stressed and I did it and it went awfully. Second interaction, literally got the number and could have gone on the date, possibly. Right? And she was fit. And then the second girl I went on a cold approach with, I got another number. So I did 3 cold approaches. First one, after stewing for an hour and a half of anxiety in my fucking head, did it. Second one got the number, third one got the number. Now I'm not promising this is going to happen for you, but what I'm just saying is that there's a massive contrast between the state that I was in where I was anxious and I was fucking feeling horrible, and then like literally boom, boom, number. What the fuck? I went home feeling like an absolute king. I felt like a fucking king. And so that's what you really need to do. Get out there, promise yourself you're going to fucking do it, and you're not coming back till you do it. Go to the city centre and be there, and don't come back till you've done one. Trust me, the amount of growth you have is insane, just from that one approach. Don't even think about doing another. You do one, you're good, you can go home. Congratulations. That's how it should be. And time is going to sort everything. Your actions are fucking inconsequential. As long as you're doing everything ethically and above board, and you're just being like kind of like normal, then it's fine, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, this is the second way. Hope you're still watching this. If you're fucking watching this video, you're a top G. Just keep listening. This is the second way, and this is actually how I overcame my approach anxiety in the more longer term. So it turns out, like, at the time I was like, fuck, this cold approach shit is really hard. Like the approach anxiety was really getting to me. So I did this approach anxiety like course by Good Looking Loser. Basically you go around and you like ask girls for the time. You just ask people for the time in the street. So you go down the street and there'll be a guy walking across and you'll be like, excuse me, mate, you've got the time. He's like, oh yeah, it's 1 o'clock. And you're like, oh cool. And then you just walk. And that just gets you used to stopping people. And basically these levels get like increasing difficulty. You can Google it. Good Looking Loser Approach Anxiety course. It's a free course. You don't even have to pay for it. It's completely free on the internet. And so me and my mate did this for about 20 days or like, I can't remember how far we got into it, but I think we got to like maybe day 20 or something. And by the end of it, like I was singing the alphabet to like random people. I was going up to girls pretending I'm a homosexual, asking where the nearest, I'll go up to, there was one day, this was the hardest one, going up to a girl and you'd be like, excuse me, do you know where the nearest hair salon is? I did that to a girl in the street. I stopped her and I was like, fuck me, this is fucking cringe. I was dying inside, but you basically do it so that you can overcome the nerves. Anyway, I had to stop doing that. I was like, fuck this. I'm like, I felt I could just get straight into cold approaching. So then I went straight into cold approaching. But my point is, at the start, you can just go and ask people for the time. And you can do that course. At the start, it's really, really lax. It's like, excuse me, do you know the time is? And you like ask people where like, oh, do you know where the this restaurant is? Or like you say like, oh, do you know where the, like we were living by the a bridge, and oh, do you know the bridge is? Like it's these types of light drills where you no one's gonna fucking people. And once you get into the like people aren't gonna think that you're the devil for asking them what the time is. People aren't going to think you're the devil for asking where the bridge is. People aren't going to think you're the devil for asking where the restaurant is. Yeah, it gets hard, it ramps up, but as you get more confident, as you do the lower levels of the drills, they get more and more difficult, and you actually grow as a person massively. Now, at the end of the day, you get halfway through that course, you basically can go straight into cold approaching after that if you wish. So yeah, recap this vid. First of all, do that thing where you leave that fucking house, you don't come back till you do it. Doesn't matter how the interaction goes. You go to the city centre and you fucking just like live there for a bit till you fucking approach 1, and then you come back. As a longer term way of overcoming approach anxiety, if you want to start off small, That's what I did, and it worked. You do the good looking loser approach anxiety program. You start off at level 1 where you're asking people what the time is, where the restaurant is, and there's days you can look up the program online, you can Google it and just find it pretty easily. It's good looking loser approach anxiety course. You do that shit, and gradually your approach anxiety just kind of goes away. It always remains in you, but it just gets lessened over time, and that's really how you overcome it long term. Is you just keep on hammering away the approaches. Do that approach, good looking loser approach anxiety course for a bit. Then when you feel like it, you just hammer at it, approaching. Day game or night game. I recommend night game as well. Like night game is the bomb. I actually think night game is better than day game, but that's probably for another vid. I did day game, as I said. That my approach anxiety is like fucking low. Like I can go to a nightclub, I don't give a single fuck. I know what I'm doing. I got a game plan. Like I just go in, I just complete the task at hand, and it's really, really, really good. And trust me, man, when you overcome these barriers, man, the pleasure you get is insane. Insane. You can really level up as a person. It's dope. Real self improvement, practical shit. Getting out there, improving your confidence. Not sitting in your house doing fucking affirmations and wasting your time. That's it. I hope you get value from this vid. Bit longer than usual. I don't even know if anyone's fucking watching this anyway. I've got like 1 sub. Maybe even that's a bot. I don't even fucking know. Anyway, hope you get value. Peace.